Alright, yes, welcome back to another review. Here we have a really nice looking pad. We have the Tenta Acidity glass pad. This is the second glass pad from Tenta. Their first release was the Cataclysm. And this pad is more of a balanced pad compared to their Cataclysm, which was a control pad. So if we get into the specs of the pad comes in at 490 by 420 size. It's the standard size on the market. And the Acidity doesn't currently have any other sizing options, no square size at all at this time. Now the glass of the Acidity is actually super thin. It's the thinnest I've personally used on a glass pad ever. The glass itself is 1.5 thin, and this creates a really comfortable feeling. The edges are rounded and clean, but one thing I will say is especially on the bottom and the top, the edges can be a bit harsh and a bit harder than some of the other glass pads I've tested and used, so it can create some irritation for some people out there. Now the surface itself does really require a sleeve to use if you want to use it effectively. Without a sleeve, the surface itself becomes much slower and your arm can actually really easily tug on the surface and catch to it. This is something we used to see with glass pads a lot a year ago or even 2 years ago. It's become less of an issue, but this is prevalent on this pad. But I'll show you here. Just putting on a sleeve completely gets rid of this issue and the surface can show itself for what it is. So let's talk more about the surface. I want to start with static. Firstly, the surface works really well, and I love how the static friction feels when I aggressively flick at my own speed and land onto a target. I feel like when I flick on this pad, it's not like cloth and it's not like other glass pads where I feel like the surface is stopping me from flicking at the speeds I want to go. On this pad, I feel free to just flick as fast as I want, but there's still that slight friction, so it's not like an ice hockey table, something like the Beast or the Entity pad, where it's just completely loose. On this pad, I can still stop quite easily. And due to the dynamic friction, I can also feel the surface when flicking, and it creates a really nice feeling going between the targets. I feel like I'm still in control of what I'm doing. And a smoother approach also works well. I can glide between the targets on the surface and it feels really nice. So let's talk a bit about tracking, which is the more popular scenario type. Due to the balanced surface of the glass pad, the tracking does feel really nice. It's not super fast where lots of people could struggle to control their own crosser movements, or they might struggle to follow the bot's direction because the pad is just too fast. When I tested the surface with tracking scenarios, I actually saw my own improvement to my own ability to smoothly follow a target in a direction. I was reading direction changes really well on this pad. And again, there's a slight friction which really helps you to feel where you're actually moving on the mouse on the pad. It is other glass pads, sometimes you do lose where you actually are. It's crazy to say, but I always feel in control of my crosshair when I'm on this pad. And target switching is great. Again, I want to highlight the flicking on this pad feels really great because the surface doesn't stop you from flicking at the speed you want to go at. But it's just a really nice feeling because you can still flick to the speeds that you'd wish to go to, but there's that stopping power still. And I can go between targets as fast as I can and land onto them and micro onto it. So overall, the surface is balanced, but it's leaning towards control, and it has this slight texture that is giving it that controlled feeling. It's not like a really smooth pad, it's not like an ice hockey table. You can definitely feel this subtle texture in the glass that is just giving it that more controlled feeling. And you can feel it when you run your fingers across the surface, you can feel that texture. The pad has a low initial friction, and that's what's giving you that ability to flick really aggressively and early, but you can still micro very well. And the dynamic friction isn't as noticeable when you're tracking on the pad, but it does help when you stop accelerating your mouse movement and you want to slow down or come to a stop. And if we talk about the aesthetics of the pad, this pad is just actually so beautiful in my eyes. The color is so perfect. The yellow, the lemon yellow, looks amazing. So you can see bottom right the new Tenta X logo. I believe this is the first time they've used it on a mouse pad, but I think it just looks really clean and definitely is an upgrade on the previous logo that they had on the pad. And then top left here, you can see the really clean and like subtle design that just gives the pad a bit more character, but it doesn't take away from like the really clean aesthetic it gives. Like this pad just looks really good on like any desk. So overall, the Acidity is actually a really good option on the glass market currently. It's like balanced, leaning towards control, and the surface just works well for every aiming category and any game type that someone might want to use it with. The glass is super thin, and this creates a really comfortable feeling that also works effectively. So I'm really excited by Tenta X. I feel like they keep just upping their game, and every release just keeps getting better for them. But I hope you enjoyed this quick review, and let me know your thoughts on the pad. Thank you.